Good day and welcome everyone for joining us wherever you are and whatever time it is where you are. Thank you so much for making the time to be with us here today. My name is Nancy Owusua and I am the communication specialist here at the African Evaluation Association. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar on understanding the call for proposal for the 12th AfrEA International Conference taking place in Marrakech, Morocco from 23rd to 27th November 2026. So briefly, today's session is designed to guide you through everything you need to know to prepare a strong submission for the conference. We will walk you through the conference concept notes, the 4 conference strands, and exactly how to submit your abstracts, with time set aside at the end for your questions. So note your questions down while the session is ongoing. We expect to be with you for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. So joining us today, we have an excellent panel. We have the Vice President, Mr. Matthew Lubuulwa, who will be moderating today's session. We also have Mr. Jamal Ramdane, who is the President of the Moroccan Evaluation Association. We also have Ssenyondo, Vincent, and Rachid, Essidek, our regional representatives for East and North Africa. We equally have Dr. Mjiba Frehiwot, who is the Chief Editor of the African Evaluation Journal, and John Annan, our IT support, who will also walk you through the submission portal. Before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded, and the recording will be shared with participants afterwards. The session is also being held in both English and French, and we are pleased to have Timothy with us today providing live translation. So please feel free to follow and engage in whichever language you are most comfortable with. If you have questions during the session, kindly type them into the chat, and our moderator will address them during the question and answer segment. With that being said, it is now my pleasure to hand over to our moderator for today, Mr. Matthew Lubuulwa, the Vice President of AfrEA, who will guide us through the rest of the session. So Matthew, over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nancy, for that wonderful introduction. Good afternoon to Africa. Good afternoon to everyone who is on this call. On behalf of the African Evaluation Association, I want to warmly welcome you to this call for abstracts webinar for the 12th AfrEA Conference. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us, whether you are an experienced evaluator, researcher, policymaker, development practitioner, student, or our young and emerging evaluators. Today's webinar is designed to help you prepare a strong and competitive abstract for Africa's premier evaluation conference. I am honored to moderate today's discussion, and alongside an excellent panel of experts who Nancy has just introduced, we will walk you through the conference themes, or strands as we've called them, the submission requirements, the review process, practical tips for developing quality abstracts, papers, ready for publishing. Like she has mentioned, we have our editor-in-chief of the African Evaluation Journal. So she'll be telling us briefly, how can you go beyond the abstract to a proper paper that can be published in the journal? So why is this Africa Evaluation Conference matters? This is the 12th conference we are planning or preparing for. The conference is much more than an academic gathering, and the conference is the continent's premier platform for engaging leading experts in evaluation, sharing knowledge and best practices, and exploring innovative evaluation approaches that respond to Africa's realities. The conference will bring together evaluators, government, development partners, academia, civil society organizations, parliamentarians, private sector actors, and young professionals to exchange experiences and strengthen the use of evidence in decision-making across Africa. So the conference will be aiming to bring together over 800 participants to strengthen evaluation systems and create an arena of policy dialogue across the continent. So the conference therefore provides an opportunity to showcase evaluation innovations from across Africa, influence policy through evidence, strengthen national evaluation systems, promote Made in Africa evaluation approaches, build professional networks and collaborations, and then mentor the next generation of evaluators. Now, at this point, I need to inform you that every abstract submitted contributes to these broader goals by bringing new evidence, ideas, and experiences into the continent's conversation. So what you need to understand, on behalf of, or one of the most important documents prospective presenters should read is the conference concept. We issued a concept to this conference, and I want to encourage everyone to read that concept note. And our concept note explains why the conference is being organized, what conversation it tends to simulate. This year's concept note breaks down the theme, which is the main theme, which is evaluation in the age of polycrisis, the role of evaluation in supporting Africa's sovereignty and resilience in the face of global disruptions. So the conference program is divided into 4 main thematic strands. And strand 1, which is rethinking development paradigms in the era of polycrisis, which is looking at building resilience and transformation in Africa. Strand 2 is focusing on evaluation methodologies and practices, leveraging new technologies and locally led evaluations made in Africa frameworks. Then strand 3, we look at policy coherence and national evaluation systems, driving sustainable development, climate action, and data sovereignty. And then finally, strand 4, which is capacity building and equity, will be focusing on empowering youth, civil society, and inclusive evaluation networks. Our panelists this afternoon will be throwing more light on these strands shortly. In simple terms, the concept note is the roadmap for the conference. A common mistake made by many authors is writing an excellent abstract that unfortunately does not respond to the conference theme or any of the sub-themes. Such abstracts are often rejected not because they lack quality, but because they do not align with the purpose of the conference. My advice to all prospective authors is therefore to read the concept note first, understand it, and then prepare your abstract around it. By the end of the conference, participants are expected to leave with new knowledge, stronger professional networks, practical lessons from different countries, and ideas that can improve development effectiveness across the continent. Today's webinar has been organized to help you navigate every stage of the call for abstract process, and our distinguished panelists will explain the conference theme, the conference tracks, what reviewers look for, how to write a competitive abstract, common mistakes to avoid, publication opportunities, like I mentioned earlier, and then the submission process. Now, as participants, I encourage you to post your questions in the chat throughout the webinar. We shall reserve adequate time towards the end of this interactive session for the question and answer session. Now, ladies and gentlemen, may I take this singular honor to introduce to you the day's panelists, and I don't think I need to do that again, but we have President Jamal. In short, Nance has already introduced them. We have our editor, Dr. Mjiba, Frehiwot, who will also be speaking about publishing in the African Evaluation Journal or any other journal. So she'll be helping us to prepare you to go beyond the abstract to writing a paper that can be published. Then we have Mr. Vincent Ssenyondo, the regional representative for Eastern Africa. He will walk us through strand 1 and 2. Then we have Mr. Rachid Essidek, our regional representative for North Africa, is actually in Morocco, and he will be taking us through strand 3 and strand 4. And finally, we shall have our IT guru at the Secretariat, John Annan, who will walk us through the abstract submission process on the conference portal. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this very moment, allow me to invite President Jamal to first welcome us and give us a feel of what is in Morocco and what is expected of those who are going to travel to Morocco. Thank you. President Jamal. President Jamal.
Le micro, si Jamal.
Okay.
Le micro, si Jamal.
Rachid, I can hear you.
Yes.
And then President
Jamal, it's muted. Please, can you unmute?
Okay.
Voilà, c'est bon, c'est parfait. Oui, je suis désolé. Tout d'abord, j'aimerais dire, chers collègues, éminents experts et partenaires, cette rencontre d'aujourd'hui constitue une étape vraiment très décisive dans la préparation de la 12e édition de la conférence internationale de l'AfrEA, dans la mesure où ce qu'on va préparer, ce qu'on aurait d'ici le 30, va constituer la substance de notre conférence. Et tout d'abord, j'aimerais dire 2 mots sur l'Association marocaine de l'évaluation. Donc l'AME a été créée en 2008 et il s'est fixé pour mission d'améliorer l'action publique en promouvant la culture de l'évaluation et l'exigence démocratique de redevabilité. Et il a à son actif pas mal d'activités et d'actions phares, notamment l'accompagnement du processus de constitutionnalisation de l'évaluation au niveau du Maroc. Elle a également œuvré à l'ancrage de la culture de l'évaluation auprès des régions. Elle a plaidé au niveau du Parlement. Et tout ça, elle ne pouvait pas le faire sans trouver un ancrage à l'international. Donc, l'AME est membre d'Eval Partner, elle est membre d'Eval MENA, elle est membre du RFE, mais son vrai ancrage se trouve auprès auprès de l'AfrEA. Donc, avec l'AfrEA, l'AME a un partenariat stratégique qui repose sur le principe que nous connaissons tous. On plaide tous ensemble avec force pour l'évaluation Made in Africa, autrement dit une évaluation qui a pour objectif de valoriser nos savoirs endogènes et de construire des méthodes adaptées à notre réalité. Et je reviens maintenant à la co-organisation de la 12e édition de la conférence. C'est un partenariat qui dépasse largement les aspects logistiques, dans la mesure où on a essayé de créer une certaine synergie qui vise à démontrer que l'Afrique est un pôle aussi d'innovation. Je rappelle dans la foulée que l'AME a co-organisé le Forum francophone de l'évaluation au Maroc, le Forum Evalmena, et en 2024, elle a co-organisé avec Eval Partner le Forum mondial de l'évaluation. Et là, avec l'AfrEA, nous sommes vraiment dans notre bain. Et voilà pourquoi il a été convenu que ça soit le Maroc. D'abord, il y avait bien entendu, un appel à candidature, mais aussi le Maroc parce que il s'inscrit dans une dynamique d'ouverture diplomatique et de solidarité, et dans la mesure où il assume pleinement sa vocation de carrefour stratégique entre l'Afrique, l'Europe et d'autres pays du monde. Et on a retenu spécifiquement Marrakech parce que elle est forte de son infrastructure, le congrès de classe mondiale. La plupart des événements se passent quand il s'agit du Maroc à Marrakech. Et d'ailleurs, il y a des activités qui vont se tenir en parallèle avec notre conférence. Marrakech aussi parce que c'est une zone où on rencontre une très grande diversité culturelle, et elle est reconnue pour avoir abrité des grands sommets internationaux. Donc, du coup, je vous garantis que l'énergie de cette cité millénaire inspirera, Inch'Allah, nos travaux et nos débats. J'aimerais dire quelques mots sur les axes de notre conférence. Alors, il s'agit de, comme vous avez dû le voir, de 4 axes qui vont être, bien entendu, beaucoup plus explicités par les collègues. Et nous resterons bien sûr à votre disposition pour en expliquer les détails. Et on va d'ailleurs envisager une séance questions-réponses pour pouvoir expliciter chacun des axes. Donc, je les parcours très rapidement. C'est au niveau des 4 axes que des missions spécifiques sont exigées par au niveau de votre intervention. Je rappelle que le thème central, c'est le rôle transformateur de l'évolution dans le soutien à la souveraineté et la résilience de l'Afrique à l'ère de la polycrise. Chaque thème des 4 axes va inclure des aspects sur la décolonisation, des pratiques évaluatives, l'inclusion sociale et climatique et l'intégration des nouvelles technologies telles que l'intelligence artificielle. Et donc, je crois que je ne vais pas trop m'étaler sur l'explication des axes parce que ça fera l'objet certainement d'un grand débat. Je voudrais vous encourager vivement, encourager les chercheurs, les décideurs et praticiens à soumettre le résumé dans les délais impartis, à savoir le 30 juillet à 17h. Et j'encourage vivement, encore une fois, les chercheurs à être nombreux. Bien entendu, on vous expliquera par la suite les aspects liés à la solution, quels sont les protocoles à respecter, etc. Donc, je crois que je vais m'arrêter à ce niveau et je vous remercie.
Yes, thank you so much, President Jamal, for walking us through what people should expect in Marrakech. At this very point, I want to invite our editor-in-chief of the African Evaluation Journal to give us a brief on what writers of abstracts should do to make it to the African Evaluation Journal. Dr. Mjiba?
Thank you so much, President. I'm grateful. Thank you so much, President. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak. I hope I can be heard properly.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So
Yes,
first off, I want to thank you. Okay, perfect. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the African Evaluation Journal, AEJ as we call it, and its important role in transforming knowledge presented at the AfrEA conference in Marrakech into published scholarship. Through the journal, we seek to elevate the work of academics, practitioners, policymakers, funders, and the broader African evaluation community and ecosystem by ensuring that innovative ideas and evidence generated on the continent reach audiences across Africa and around the world. The African Evaluation Journal was launched in 2013 with its first publication, Monitoring and Evaluation in African Contexts, History, Status, and Prospects for African Monitoring and Evaluation, under the leadership of our founding editor-in-chief, Dr. Mark Abrahams. Since then, we have consistently published at least one issue annually, and in most years, 2 issues. Alongside our regular issues, we have been proud to publish a number of influential special issues, including the 2022 special issue on Made in Africa evaluation, and our most recent 2026 special issue on building the evidence base for climate solutions in Africa. Today, the African Evaluation Journal has achieved over 1.8 million article downloads, a remarkable milestone for a journey of our size. This demonstrates the extensive reach of the research published in the AEJ and highlights the potential for your work to influence evaluation practice, policy, and scholarship across Africa and beyond. One important thing to point out is that AEJ focuses on evaluation as the subject of inquiry rather than simply as a methodological tool. In other words, published articles should make a substantive contribution to evaluation theory, practice, or policy, rather than merely using evaluation as an afterthought or research method. As an academic journal, all submissions must undergo a rigorous double-blind peer review process to ensure the highest standards of scholarly quality. The upcoming conference presents an excellent opportunity to generate innovative and cutting-edge scholarship. The conference theme, Evaluation in the Era of Polycrisis, the role of evaluation in supporting Africa's sovereignty and resilience in the face of global disruption, opens numerous avenues for research and publications over the coming year. I am also pleased to announce that AEJ will publish a special issue dedicated to this year's conference theme. So I encourage you to look out for the call for papers following the conference. Now, once you do your presentation in Marrakech, you enjoy some wonderful Moroccan food, and you go back home, you may be asking, how do I take this presentation and publish it into an article? So let me briefly touch on the publication process. For many researchers, particularly practitioners or those who are not in the academy, preparing a manuscript for publication can be one of the most challenging aspects of academic work. The first and most important step is to familiarize yourself with the journal's author guidelines on the AJ website. These outline essential requirements, including manuscript length, citation style, formatting, and ethical clearance where applicable. And it's important to note that all academic journals, the majority of academic journals nowadays, are asking authors for ethical clearance. So if you're doing a academic paper, please reach out and we can perhaps walk you through where you may be able to get ethical clearance in your community if you are not an academic institution. Most projects have ethical clearance embedded into the project. So you can also ask project coordinators or funders if it's okay to use their ethical clearance. And of course, academic institutions generally have ethical clearance committees or departments to help walk you through that. Once you understand these requirements, you begin to transform your conference presentation into a journal article. As part of this process, I strongly encourage you to search the journal's archive for articles related to your topic. Reading and citing relevant work previously published in AJ will help position your article within existing scholarship while also strengthening your manuscript. The other thing which I think is important about looking at previous articles in AJ is you then can have an understanding of how to structure your article so that it moves quickly through the review process. The next step, although not mandatory, is highly recommended. Ask a trusted colleague to review your paper and provide constructive feedback before submission. A fresh perspective can greatly improve the quality and clarity of your manuscript. Every single article that I send out as an academic, I send to a colleague or two to ask them to review for me. Finally, submit your article through the journal's online platform and await the review process. While these steps may seem straightforward, producing a strong manuscript and completing peer review often takes between 3 and 6 months or longer, depending on your writing schedule and the review process. It is therefore important to approach publication with realistic expectations and patience. And I'll say this, if you're dedicated and excited about a paper, don't give it up no matter how long it takes you to get to the publication process. Finally, at the African Evaluation Association Conference, we will have a booth We'll warmly invite you to visit us. Meet with the editorial team. Myself and several associate editors will be present. Ask us questions about publishing, share your ideas on how we can continue to strengthen the journal, and tell us how you can help strengthen the journal. Lastly, I would like to say that we also have opportunities for authors, reviewers, or even ambassadors for AAJ. So there's many ways that everyone involved in AfrEA can be also involved and contribute to the journal. Thank you once again for your time. I look forward to meeting many of you in Marrakech and hopefully to receiving your submissions to the African Evaluation Journal. Lastly, if you have any questions about the process, please go to the African Evaluation Journal website, and I'll put it in the chat, and just look for myself or any of the associate editors or even ASOS, the publisher, and ask the questions. And we certainly will help you as quickly as we can to publish in our journal. We welcome publications in both English and French, and we have very few publications in French. And so for those of us who speak and write in French, regardless of location, we openly welcome your publications. Thank you so much, and see you all in Marrakech.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mjiba, for taking us through that process. So members who want to really publish your papers in the African Evaluation Journal, please take that opportunity and prepare your abstracts first, and then transform them into papers that can be published. At this point in time, I want to apologize for the echo that happened at the beginning. Sometimes technology can play us around, but we've dealt with that. I hope everyone is now clear. With that said, those who have questions, continue to put them in the chat. We are going to respond to them at the end of this session. We've prepared enough time for you to listen to the responses to your questions. So at this point in time, allow me to invite Mr. Vincent Ssenyondo to walk us through strand 1 and 2. Vincent.
Okay, thank you so much, my senior colleague, Mr. Matthew Lubuulwa, the Vice President. I will not really take a lot of time because I know time is fast spent, and we shared the concept notes as well as the call for abstracts with the wider team. If you are not sure, please go on the AfrEA website, and then you'll find a lot of this good literature. So once again, good afternoon, colleagues from around the world. Those in Africa, most of us this afternoon. It's a pleasure to also join you all into this important call. One of the biggest questions prospective presenters always ask is, which conference strand should I submit to? The good news is that the first strand which you've elaborated in our call and also our concept note are not separate conferences. They are just 4 different conversations around one common theme, which is evaluation in the era of polycrisis. So the role of evaluation in supporting Africa's sovereignty and resilience in the face of the global disruption, as our theme is a timely and timely conversation for us to look at this conference. So I'll basically speak about strand 1 and 2, and my other colleague Rachid will speak about 3 and 4. Let's go to strand 1. Strand 1 basically tells us about rethinking development paradigms in the era of polycrisis. What transformative role can evaluation play in strengthening resilience in Africa? The first thing we need to understand is the main word, polycrisis. So polycrisis simply means that Africa is facing very many interconnected challenges, interconnected crises at the same time. And the concept note highlights some of them. For example, climate shocks, economic volatility, geographical instabilities, technological disruptions, all happening simultaneously and affecting one another. Now, the important question is not whether these crises do exist. The question is, what role should evaluation play? And traditionally, evaluation has often looked backwards. Did a project achieve its objectives? Did it spend the budget? Did activities happen? So this strong challenges us to think beyond accountability. Okay? Instead, it asks us, can evaluation help Africa anticipate these crises, adapt faster, learn continuously, and build resilience? What kind of papers fit here? And what will be our expectations as we review your respective submissions? So, for example, evaluating climate adaptation programs. This will be speaking the resilience we're talking about. Economic recovery initiatives across our continent. Health systems resilience. Governance reforms. Conflict recovery. Education reforms. Agriculture transformation. Talk about things like social protection, institutional resilience, among others. So even if your work is at a community level, you need to ask yourself, does my evaluation help Africa become stronger and more resilient? So if the answer is yes, then strand 1 will be the right for you. Do not simply describe for us a project, no. Tell us what Africa can learn from your story, from that experience. And this is what will make this kind of abstract strong. So, in a nutshell, for this strand 1, we need you to ensure that we bring up the transformative role of evaluation amidst the polycrisis or the issue facing our continent. Without wasting more time, let me run straight to strand 2. Strand 2 is about decolonizing evaluation practices. And we're basically looking at toward African approaches rooted in indigenous knowledge and community participation. So this is one of the most exciting discussions which will be taking place in Marrakech and also taking place in our evaluation paradigms currently. For many years, evaluation methods have largely been deployed and developed outside of Africa. So this strand asks us, how can evaluation better reflect African realities? Now, decolonizing evaluation does not simply mean rejecting international knowledge. This is not what you're trying to talk about, no. But rather, it means ensuring that African voices, our African cultures, African values, and also African knowledge systems are equally recognized. So the concept note which we shared with you, which is also on our website, emphasizes approaches grounded in our local knowledge, the decolonization of evaluation practices, and community participation. So what kind of papers will we be looking out for, which fit here? For instance, papers on indigenous evaluation systems. We have in June last year, we launched our Made in Africa evaluation. So papers speaking about Made in Africa will be crucial here. Cultural responsible evaluations, participatory evaluation systems, community-led monitoring, traditional governance systems. In Africa, we have the Ubuntu, I am because we are philosophies and African philosophies, locally generated evidences, talk about things like citizen participation, evaluating capacities within African systems, among others. So the central question, instead of asking, did we consult communities? This strand asks us, did communities shape the evaluation? Instead of asking things like, whose program is this? We need to ask, whose knowledge matters? And this is the heart of the evaluation. Therefore, as you prepare your respective abstracts, do not start by choosing a strand. Start with your work and ask yourself, what is the main contribution my work makes? If it contributes to strengthening resilience, adaptation, strengthening systems, development transformation, then think of strand 1. If it advances African evaluation, indigenous knowledge, participation, culturally responsive approaches, among others, then you think of strand 2. And remember that Africa
Vincent,
has okay. So let me wind up with the 3 points. 1, strand 1 is basically about building our Africa's resilience. It asks us how evaluation can help our societies, institutions, and government respond to our interconnected crises. Number 2, strand 2 is about building African evaluation. It asks us how evaluation can better reflect our knowledge, cultures, participation, and realities. And point number 3 is, don't force your work into any given strand. Let the main contribution of your work determine whether it fits. Okay? And that is my advice as you participate and submit your respective abstracts. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ssenyondo, for the wonderful walkthrough of strand 1 and strand 2. And we want to build on what he has said as I invite our regional representative for Northern Africa, Essidek, to take us through strand 3 and strand 4. Essidek, please have the floor.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Vice-président. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. J'ai le plaisir de vous présenter les 3e et 4e axes thématiques de la 2e conférence internationale de l'AfrEA. Comme le souligne la note conceptuelle, nous évoluons aujourd'hui dans un contexte de polycrise, marqué par des défis simultanés, interdépendants. Il y a l'instabilité géopolitique, changement climatique, la volatilité économique et transformation technologique. Cette réalité appelle de nouvelles approches de l'évaluation capables d'accompagner les décideurs dans des environnements de plus en plus complexes. Les axes 3 et 4 s'inscrivent pleinement dans cette réflexion. Ils invitent les évaluateurs chercheurs, praticiens à proposer des approches innovantes et inclusives permettant de renforcer la résilience du système africain. Par rapport au 3e axe qui est intitulé « Technologie de l'information et intelligence artificielle », avec un questionnement, quel levier pour une évaluation adaptative et innovante face aux dynamiques de la polycrise, cet axe part d'un constat simple. Les transformations numériques modifient profondément notre manière de produire, d'analyser et d'utiliser les données. Dans ce contexte, les technologies de l'information et intelligence artificielle offrent des nouvelles possibilités pour renforcer l'évaluation. Toutefois, l'objectif de cet axe n'est pas de promouvoir la technologie par elle-même. La question centrale est la suivante. Comment ces technologies peuvent-elles améliorer la qualité, l'agilité et l'utilisation des évaluations dans des contextes complexes comme le nôtre au niveau de notre continent africain? Les communications pourront ainsi explorer, par exemple, l'intégration de l'intelligence artificielle dans les procédés de l'évaluation, les innovations méthodologiques en matière de collecte, d'analyse et de visualisation des données, l'utilisation des technologies numériques pour améliorer la qualité des évaluations, les opportunités, mais également des défis liés à l'utilisation de ces technologies dans le contexte africain. Donc, les organisateurs attendent des contributions qui reposent sur des expériences concrètes, des recherches appliquées ou bien des réflexions méthodologiques susceptibles d'enrichir les pratiques d'évaluation en Afrique. Par rapport au quatrième axe, c'est un axe qui est consacré au principe fondamental de ne laisser personne de côté, avec toujours un questionnement, c'est-à-dire promouvoir une évaluation sensible aux enjeux d'inclusion des jeunes, du genre et de l'adaptation au changement climatique en Afrique. Cet axe rappelle qu'une évaluation de qualité ne se limite pas à mesurer des résultats. Elle doit également examiner dans quelle mesure les politiques publiques bénéficient réellement à l'ensemble des populations, en particulier aux groupes les plus exposés aux vulnérabilités. Les propositions attendues par rapport à notre appel, c'est des approches évaluatives intégrant les dimensions du genre, les enjeux liés à la jeunesse, l'adaptation au changement climatique, des méthodes favorisant une participation plus inclusive des parties prenantes et des expériences permettant de mieux opérationnaliser le principe de ne laisser personne de côté dans les systèmes nationaux d'évaluation. Donc, les organisateurs souhaitent, par rapport à cet axe, encourager des communications qui montrent comment l'évaluation peut contribuer à des politiques publiques plus équitables, plus inclusives et plus résilientes. Donc, pour conclure, donc les axes 3 et 4 traduisent une même ambition, faire évoluer les pratiques de l'évaluation afin qu'elles répondent aux défis contemporains de l'Afrique. Nous invitons donc les chercheurs, les praticiens, les institutions publiques, les organisations de la société civile et partenaires au développement à soumettre des propositions originales fondées sur leur expérience, leur recherche et leur innovation méthodologique. Nous espérons avoir le plaisir de découvrir vos contributions et de vous rencontrer à Marrakech, Inch'Allah, en novembre. Et merci.
Yeah, thank you so much, our regional representative for Northern Africa. Like he has mentioned, he's looking forward to receiving you in Marrakech, where he's based. So members, as you write the abstracts, also prepare to go to Marrakech. So thank you so much. At this point in time, I want to first remind you that the chat is open. Please send your questions, comments. We shall pick them from there and then respond to them. And I'm actually asking my technical team, those who have answers to some of the questions already brought forward, please, you can start answering them. And the panelists, if you may, you can be writing back the responses in the chat. So at this point, allow me to invite our expert who is going to take us through how you can submit your paper, what platform are we using, how easy is it to navigate the platform. So join me to welcome Mr. John Annan, our IT expert at the Secretariat in Accra. John, please have the floor.
Thank you. And hello to everyone. Hope we are all doing well. I am John Annan, the IT support at the AfrEA Secretariat. Please, I'll be taking you through the process of submitting an abstract and also tracking the progress of your abstract, and also very importantly, uploading your conference profile, including professional headshots and bios for the conference preparation. So I'll be sharing my screen with you so I can take you through the process. Thank you. Kindly let me know when you can, if you can see my screen so we can progress.
It's coming on.
Okay,
yeah, it is
thank
on,
you.
John. So go ahead.
Oui.
C'est bon.
Oui,
Yeah,
c'est
John,
bon.
we can see you.
All right, thank you. So please, you can visit the conference portal by visiting the AfrEA website, which is afrea.org. And then on the main page that appears, you can click on Know More to visit the conference landing page. So when you click Know More, you'll be directed to the 12th International Conference landing page. And on this page, you can proceed to begin submitting your abstract by clicking on Submit a Paper. And also to note, on this conference page, you can have further information about the conference, such as frequently asked questions, to address further questions that you may have about the conference. So I'll proceed to click Submit a Paper. And this directs me to the portal to submit a paper for the conference. Okay, so now we are on the portal to submit a paper. And when we begin, we start by selecting our preferred language. So this language will be used for further communications, including your submission receipt and notifications on the status of your abstract submitted. I will proceed in English because that's the language I communicate in. Next is to indicate your gender. So you can indicate male, female, or prefer not to say. So you indicate, and then your title, Professor, Doctor, Mr., Miss, or Mrs. Okay. Then you provide your full name. And then your institutional affiliation. And I am affiliated with AfrEA. And you're also required to provide a biography. For this presentation, I have prepared a biography to input, so I'll do so. And please, this biography should be well descriptive of you for the conference preparation. So when you are ready to present, this can be used to introduce you appropriately, and also your area of expertise. Then you indicate your experience in evaluation. Next is your email address. Please, this email address should be an email which you can be reached on, as it will be used to relay your submission receipt to you, and it will also be needed for accessing the author portal to track the progress of your submission, and also for uploading your conference profile details. So I'll put. And also, please provide a WhatsApp number you can be reached on, so that in case of further communications beyond email, we can reach you and address them appropriately. And also, please include any co-authors and facilitators during your abstracts. Yeah. So this is to get information about the author submitting the abstract. Then we move on to next. So now we are presented with a page to give details on the abstract we are submitting. So now we provide the presentation title of our abstract. And please do note that this portal is represented in both English and French. So for presentation title, we also have the French translation. And then we have the different strands related to the abstract. So we have strand 1, rethinking development, strand 2, decolonization, evaluation processes, strand 3 for information technology, and strand 4, leaving no one behind, and their descriptions as well. So I'll proceed to select a strand, and then next we move on to the presentation format. Please do note that these different presentation formats come with their associated follow-up questions. I'll go through for paper presentation and for training workshop, so we have an understanding of the processes involved. So for paper presentation, when we select, we'll have the associated questions. So now we are requested to enter our abstract, and it should be within 300 to 500 words. Okay. Okay, then you can upload your abstract document, and this will enable reviewers to professionally go through your abstract so that they can provide their reviews on your abstract. Okay. So please, you can select your abstract, and then it should be in PDF format. Please take note of this. Okay, then we move on to the next. And at this point, you are being asked about whether your abstract has been previously published, and then follow-up questions. But before I continue with this page, I'll go back and then select workshop, so we also have an understanding of how the workshop process is. So now I'll select training workshop. So after submitting, now we need to indicate the workshop language. So we have English, and then the accreditation body of the workshop. So for demo, I'll use AfrEA, and then the target audience of your workshop. And also learning outcomes. What concrete skills should participants acquire? So this is a demo learning outcome, but please make your learning outcomes detailed enough for the review committee to be able to review. Yes. Then we have the training methodology. So please describe how you will carry out this training workshop. Also, this is a demo. Please make it as descriptive as possible. Thank you. And the required number of participants. You include that, the length of your workshop, how long you feel your workshop will take, and then facilitators. So also your colleagues that will help you during the workshop session. And then I will use the same facilitators here. And please note, with this session, kindly provide WhatsApp number and qualification level for each facilitator on a separate line. For each field of the form, for each box of the form where you give your inputs, there are descriptions in both English and French. So kindly go through the descriptions to understand what is required for each box for you to input. And then technical and equipment requirements. So for workshop, what you would need for your workshop to be successful. So for this demo, I'm writing only projector, but please also ensure that you provide detailed list of requirements for your workshop. The other presentation formats follow the same flow for the paper presentation. So these are the distinctions to note. Okay, so now has your article been previously published? You have two options to either select yes or no. If you select yes, it will ask you in which journal and in which format. And if you select no, you will not have to provide a journal and a format for where your article has been previously published. And then finally, we have a declaration that you confirm that this submission followed the required ethical protocols, which you are required to declare to before your abstract will be received. And also, this one is an optional declaration, which is to either consent to the inclusion of your article in the special edition of the African Evaluation Journal and the official conference reports. So I consent to that and then submit. Okay, so please note that after submitting, you will receive a submission receipt. And then this submission receipt will be emailed to you from the AfrEA Secretariat. Kindly do note that many abstracts are being submitted, so sometimes the email systems may redirect this to the junk, as edge cases may lead to that. So kindly check your spam or junk in case you do not see your submission receipt. However, once you have access to the author portal, you will also see your submission receipt. Okay, so now I will take you through the author portal so you can know how you can track your abstract and also prepare your conference profile for the conference. So once you log
John, are
in,
you able to do this in the next 2 minutes?
yes, it
When
will
you
be
got the
done.
question.
It will be done briefly. Yes, please. Okay, so now you have two sections on the author profile, your submissions and your conference profile. Your submissions will show the different status of your submission. Once that's been received, that is indicating that it is undergoing review. And whether it has been accepted or it requires revision, you'll be notified. And also, if it has been rejected, you'll be notified. Additionally, an email will be sent to you on each decision taken, and then you have a link to visit the portal for further information on this. So I'll open the accepted abstract so you can see how it is. So for your accepted abstract, you have a summary of your abstract ID, the title, and also you have your submission receipt as in your email. You have your abstract document, and you have your abstract resume you type in the portal. And also you will see the reviewer feedback. Additionally, if your abstract is accepted, you will be presented with a full paper presentation submission section where you can attach the full paper document. So I'll do so to demonstrate. So please, this should be your full paper document. For this demo, I'm using a demo file on my PC, but please ensure you use the full paper document. And also you are required to provide a professional headshot for conference preparations. How do you say this? Okay, submit. All right. Okay. So this abstract has been submitted twice, but then once your abstract is submitted and recorded in the system, it captures everything as it does. Please be rest assured. And then we also have finally the last three segments of this, which I'll go through quickly. On whether your abstract requires revision. Please note that when the reviewers go through your abstract and then they provide their feedback, you'll be notified whether your abstract requires revision or it has been accepted or rejected. If it requires revision, you will have a separate form here. Instead of a full paper, you have a revision submission. So here you can update your presentation title, your abstract resume, and also your abstract document. And then you can submit this for the reviewers to also re-review your abstract so they can take the decisions as needed. And kindly note that for this section, it is the abstract document you are submitting, not the full paper. The full paper submission is when your abstract has been accepted. And then finally, I'll take you through a very important section, which is the conference profile, because this section ensures that your details are well captured by the conference organizers to prepare your profile for presentation during the conference. At this section, you will have your image displayed here if you have already uploaded it. If you haven't, you have the option to upload or replace. You have your name here to view. If there was a typo in your name during the submission, you can correct that. For your institutional affiliation, you can correct that as well. If there was a typo, your number and also your biography. So you correct all these to ensure that we have your accurate details. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Well. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the practical insights
Yeah.
on how to submit the papers. So friends who on this call, you've listened very attentively, and the time is now right for us to go through your questions. But before I go to the questions in the chat, just join me to thank all our panelists for today for taking us through the different strands and also taking us through the submission process and outright you up to make your abstract a paper ready for submission to the African Evaluation Journal. There are some 2 hands that have been up for quite some time. I don't know whether their issues have not been answered, but allow me to recognize all the big names in this African continent. I've seen Professor Cherisa, I've seen my predecessor, Dr. Wolponge on the call, among others. And all of you, we really respect you and we thank you for making time for this engagement. So let's go to the questions, and I will ask our technology people to allow at least 2 people to raise their questions. Then we go to the chat. So are they able to speak? I see 2 hands up.
Yes, please. I've allowed Charles to speak.
Yes, Charles, go ahead and speak to us. Charles is not there. Then the next.
I've allowed Damasi Eric. Please forgive me if I got it wrong.
Please go ahead and ask your question.
Ok, merci. J'irai en français. J'ai suivi avec beaucoup d'intérêt la présentation sur le portail de soumission. Je voudrais clairement qu'on établisse la nuance entre un papier qu'on soumet et un poster, parce que dans le cas d'une institution, par exemple, qui a réalisé une évaluation qui touche un peu la question du thème, et ce qui est disponible, c'est un rapport d'évaluation, ce n'est pas un article scientifique. Est-ce que le rapport d'évaluation peut être soumis comme un élément à présenter comme un papier ou devrait faire l'objet d'un poster? Donc, ces 2 nuances vont nous permettre de savoir comment présenter une proposition dans le cas d'espèce. Merci.
So Damase, whose question is that? Okay,
Yes.
My team will respond. The next question, I can still see some hands up. John, allow another person to speak.
John Colvin.
I have allowed
go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead with the question.
Yes. So my understanding is that there are different types of session, like papers and panels and roundtables and posters, as well as professional development workshops or training sessions. I can see no guidelines on the panels. You haven't talked about panels at all. How long is a panel? And what details, how do we submit details on a panel session?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Just allow the third person. I still see the third person to ask the question.
Please have allowed Mehdi to speak.
Yes,
Oui,
Mehdi, go ahead.
bonsoir, merci à vous tous pour vos interventions. J'aimerais savoir s'il y a une possibilité de faire des modifications après une soumission. Pas forcément au niveau du résumé, mais ça peut être au niveau des informations remplies.
Okay, thank you so much. So, my panelists, are you ready to respond to these questions? Can I start? Some of the questions, maybe Nancy will chip in. Can we first answer these, then we go to the chat?
Hello, Matthew.
Yes, John.
Please, Nadia has a hand up. Please, can I allow her to ask a question as well?
She's asking a question. She's supposed to be answering questions. Okay, Nancy, go ahead. Go ahead with the question.
Bonjour.
Yes, go ahead and ask the question.
Bonjour tout le monde, je vous remercie. Vous m'entendez?
My internet
Oui,
is
oui, oui,
Oui.
oui, madame. Oui, madame Sebas.
Donc, je vous remercie pour les différentes interventions qui m'ont permis de comprendre un ensemble de choses par rapport au contenu des axes et au process. J'ai deux questions. Tout d'abord, quand le résumé est accepté, est-ce qu'on est tenu de soumettre le document en totalité, c'est-à-dire même si c'est une présentation sur PowerPoint, nous devons la présenter à côté du texte écrit, ça d'une part. D'autre part, comme le sujet sur lequel je compte travailler, c'est le rôle de l'évaluation pour que les NDC soient plus efficaces et qui permettent au pays d'être plus résilient. Est-ce que ça ne serait pas utile, si cette thématique est acceptée, de prévoir l'intervention de plusieurs pays sur cette même thématique pour qu'on puisse sortir avec une conclusion d'action ou de vision qui correspond à toute l'Afrique? Voilà, merci.
Okay, thank you so much, Nadia, for those questions. Nancy, you had your hand up.
No, please, my hand was not up.
I had John saying that your hand was up.
No, it's Mehdi.
Actually, Matthew.
Mehdi.
Yeah, I've enabled her to speak, but we cannot hear it. She's muted. Please, could she unmute herself? I've enabled her to ask her question, but she's
Okay. I think in the interest of time, we need to respond to the questions. Dear panelists, I think I'm going to start. You may choose which question you wish to answer, and I'll go in the order we started with. So I don't know whether in the chat we have any questions that require any response from President Jamal. I see most of these, John, you will have to address them. Jamal,
Effectivement,
please go ahead.
il y a certaines questions, une question dans le chat qui m'interpelle. qui nous interpelle tous. En fait, il y a une personne qui a demandé la possibilité de prolonger le délai du 30 juillet. En fait, c'est une question qui a été débattue au sein du comité et on s'est dit qu'il va falloir attendre le 30 juillet pour pouvoir statuer sur cette question. Voilà, c'est l'unique question qui m'interpelle en tant que membre du comité de préparation.
Yeah, thank you so much, President Jamal, for answering that question. Yes, let's first see if we have enough submissions. We don't have to extend the deadline. So, friends, please work within the remaining time so that by next week your abstract is ready. We receive it, and then we shall evaluate and see if we need a few more or we don't need any more based on that. I don't know whether Mjiba is still on the call. Dr. Mjiba, are you still on this call? I know you had another engagement. There are some questions to do with the evaluation journal in the chat.
No, I don't think she's here. She's no longer part of us.
Oh, okay. So can we respond? Someone wanted to know whether we have a scientific committee. I think the journal does have a scientific committee. We also have paper reviewers for this particular engagement, which is the abstracts, who are amongst ourselves, the members of the African Evaluation Association. We also had some people who are asking general questions, which I can attempt to respond to. Membership to AfrEA. Just visit the website and you see how you can become a member of AfrEA. But the basic information is first become a member of your local evaluation association or your country evaluation association. And that way quickly you'll become a member of AfrEA. Or else you can also join as an individual member, and the details on the website. There were questions to do with the roundtable, and someone was asking, will the roundtable be captured in the journal? And I think the requirements for the journal have been explained by our editor-in-chief. So if your roundtable is presenting a scientific kind of paper, which normally they don't, you will make it to the, so you visit our website and look at the specific requirements for having your abstract or your paper published in the African Evaluation Journal. A number of people asking about the time allocated to panels, sessions, and I think this will be determined and we shall be communicating on how long, but people have been guided. I think, John, you did guide on how long that abstract is. So are the papers, but I think we shall be communicating on that. We've generated a frequently asked questions, and our communications specialist, Nancy, she has already shared it on the website. So you need to go and review it, and then you should be able to get most of these responses from that frequently asked question template, which is already on our website. So the panelist, Vincent, could you respond to some of the questions in the chat?
Thank you so much. I've actually been answering most of the questions. So if you go to the answered, I've been trying to answer many of the questions that were in mind.
For the good of those who are unable to read the chat, could you quickly run through your responses?
Of course, someone was asking about the extension, which I answered, and you've also hinted on that. Someone was asking about whether their specific work or resilience fits in, then I responded. Maybe there's one question which someone asked, the difference between an abstract and a poster presentation. So if you are submitting a paper which is a poster, the expectation is that you will be able to design all your work and ideas into some form of a banner available, which is a poster. So at the conference, we shall have a space for where we shall display these respective posters. and you take people through your respective work on a big poster, which is something like a banner, but it's a poster. So we shall have a session whereby people will be passing through and explain your idea. It can be on decolonization, can be on AI, as per our conference plans. However, for a paper presentation, it basically looks at, it can be 15 minutes or a shorter presentation where you will present your ideas to people who are listening again there. Maybe, Mr. Moderator, there's been a question around round tables and also panels. And Doha is saying that do you have, for example, if they want to submit as a group, for example, International Evolution Academy, they are submitting as a group. Do we have provisions for that? Currently, the link, I think, does not provide for that, but at a planning level, we could, I think, they can write to us, then we can make a decision, because she's also asking for specific templates for a group kind of submission. I think this is something we are going to follow up, and I promise that we shall write to you officially. I know you have my email and our emails, but you can please initiate an email to us, and we shall be able to respond and to guide accordingly. Thank you.
John, do you want to respond to that actually immediately and see if this is possible?
Okay. Thank you. So with the portal, currently it accepts the author, and then they can indicate their co-authors and facilitators. So with that option, they can indicate their group through that section. But if there's a different specific way which they would like to present as a group, they can let us know, as Vincent has stated, and then we'll work on that.
John, could you respond to the person who asked about amending their resume?
Yes,
Are they able to amend?
Yes, they are able to amend their resume if the abstract requires revision currently. But then if there's okay, there have been some edge cases where we've been contacted about resume amendments, and then we go and do that from the back end. So yes, they can let us know, and then we amend it from the back end, so that the resumes are not changed in real time while reviewers are changing, which could interrupt the review process. So for edge cases, they can let us know, and we'll change it from the back end. Thank you.
Nadia had a question on acceptance, whether the PowerPoints should also come through the full document or the abstract. So has that provision been made for all those to be submitted?
Currently, the full paper accepts PDF, but then we can modify the system to accept wider files based on the author needs. So those are noted, and then we'll work on modifying the system to accept the different files authors have to present. Thank you. And we will communicate in due course all these updates as well. Thank you.
Do we have any response, Nancy? Nancy, could you come on the microphone and tell us what is the allocated time per session or per panel?
We are yet to decide on that. So once that is done, I'll be sure to communicate it to all of our members and our various social media platforms. So please stay tuned for that.
Okay. There's another question on the costs for the conference.
Right. So we'll open registration sometime next month. So we are yet to also decide or conclude on the specific amount for the registration. So as I said, just be on the lookout for our communication on the various social media platform and the conference website as well. When all these have been agreed upon, I'll be sure to share them for all of you. So issues regarding registration and how much it is, it will come in a later time. So please take note of this. Thank you.
Okay, John, you need to come back and respond to They are saying that which password should they use to sign into the author portal? It seems the anonymous ID isn't the password.
Thank you. So please, with the author portal, invites will be sent to all authors once the review begins so that they can track their review process and then, how do we call it? Be able to upload their conference profiles as needed. So the invites will be sent out and then they'll be notified as well. With the invites, they'll have a specialized link which they can go in and set their passwords. So there's no generic password. They can go in and when review begins. Thank you.
Yeah, the time for the panel. I think John Calvin, Nance has responded that we shall be communicating how long the panel should be. So I think that one is answered. I see another question here. My proposal abstract speaks to exhibition, presentation using illustration to address the decolonization of evaluation. Is the submission the same as that of a workshop? Does anyone here got an answer to this person? Happiness is zero.
Mr. VP, it depends on how the author is structuring the information. If they want to exhibit in a visual form, then they can decide to submit as a poster. We shall have sessions for poster presentations in our different workouts or breakouts. However, if the author intends to present it as a paper presentation, the short presentation of 15 minutes, then they can structure and indicate specifically when they are submitting. Our submission portal is very clear and very systematic. You even have a chance to attach your abstract. So it's at your discretion. And when you submit all these papers, of course, they are going to be revised, to be ranked. They will be reviewed, ranked, and depending on how many we need for our program, as per the time and slots we have, then the top ones will be accepted. Okay, like it is elsewhere. Thank you.
Okay, I need to respond to this actually one more time. We are yet to agree on the duration of the sessions for panels, but we are working with a period which is not standard for each panel. Some panels will be 45 minutes, other panels will be 1 hour, and others will be 1.5 hours. So you need to indicate to us how much time you need when you are submitting a panel request, how much time you need so that we know how to work with you. But we don't expect any panel to go beyond 90 minutes. But the minimum will be 45 minutes for the panel up to 90 minutes. So let me just respond to that way. And we shall agree as we come up with the program, which particular panel will be 45 minutes and which one will be 1 hour, which one will be 90 minutes. So the standard will fall in between those three. I hope, John, you are happy with that.
Yes.
My question, what are the topics of training workshops? Should they fit with the 4 strands of the conference? I think, John, you took us through the training workshops. Again, even
yes,
that, because some people are asking about the time for the training workshops. Our plan is to have half day and to have 1 day. So whoever is submitting, you should work with that. Your training workshop will be either half day or 1 day, so that we give room to several people to have their workshops. At the same time, you prepare accordingly. If you want a 1 day workshop, you indicate. If you are going to deliver a half day workshop, you indicate, and that's what will be allocated to you.
And please, regarding the workshop topics, they align with the strands of the conference. So once you select a strand and you select a conference, sorry, and you select a training workshop, your workshop aligns with that strand, then all that data is captured in the database for the preparation towards the conference. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. Wanjiru, you had a question about a brief presentation in form of role play guided through infographics. And I know one of the strands, I think it is strand 2, is leveraging AI and I think technology as a whole. So you can still write an abstract and you submit, and then you take people through that and a normal abstract submission. Yes, so I think that answers you. Okay. I don't know whether there are any other questions that we've not been able to respond to.
Please, there are further hands raised up.
Yes,
Please,
so we have about 4 minutes to the end of this session, so let's have those 2 hands.
Okay. Right. Okay, so please, I've allowed Malamine Savan to speak. Please. Malamine, please, you can speak now.
Beaucoup. Je vais être assez direct sur la question. Je m'appelle Malamine Savané. Je suis de Sénégal. Ma question est de savoir, est-ce qu'on peut réviser la date le délai de dépôt des notes? Parce que je me rends compte, en tout cas, ici, on vient d'une rencontre ce matin, que beaucoup de gens qui veulent présenter, ils peuvent ne pas être à jour au 30 juillet 2026. Voilà, c'est la question que je voudrais poser. Merci.
Okay, thank you so much.
Also,
Malamine.
there are two.
Oui.
Okay. Also, there are 2 further hands.
Yes, go ahead. Let's have those questions.
Okay. There's Bureima Gado. Please, I've unmuted him, so please, he can go ahead with the submission.
Yes, go ahead. Maybe you need to go to the next. I still see one hand, John, so can you allow the last one?
Jamal would like to speak, our panelist, so he can unmute his mic and speak.
I was going to give him time. I wanted to get the question. If it is
En
there,
fait, si vous permettez, je voudrais dire que par rapport à Malamine, la réponse a été donnée tout à l'heure. C'est pour le moment, c'est le 30. Et d'ici là, on verra qu'est-ce qui va se passer au-delà du 30. Je voudrais aussi revenir sur les délais, notamment pour les jeux, les experts et les personnes qui souhaitent participer à la 12e édition. Et il y a un délai pour le visa. Et il faudrait prendre le temps nécessaire pour entamer le processus, car il y a des pays qui ne sont pas soumis au visa et d'autres qui sont soumis au visa, et le visa pour certains pays peut prendre un peu plus de temps. Donc, essayez de vous y prendre suffisamment à l'avance. Et encore une fois, je profite de la prise de parole pour souhaiter à tout le monde la bienvenue au Maroc.
Thank you so much, President Jamal. Essidek, do you have any parting shots?
Merci, Monsieur le Président. J'ai rien à ajouter, donc c'est bon pour moi. Donc j'ai déjà répondu à quelques collègues au niveau de chat.
Merci beaucoup, Essidek, for that response. So, colleagues, like President Jamal has said, today is 23rd. The deadline is 30th. we still have 7 days. And I believe that is enough time for someone to prepare an abstract and submit it. Please prioritize submitting your abstract in the remaining days. So far we have about, I think there are about 200 submissions, which is good. But if you can use the remaining 7 days to make your submission, that will be wonderful. We shall be happy. And like we've said, let me reiterate that we shall determine whether we need to extend the deadline on the 30th, and we shall communicate to you. However, don't take chances, because if we realize that we have adequate submissions, we shall not extend the deadline. So use this time, the 7 days, to prepare your abstract and submit it. And then we shall be able to have our team of reviewers look at those papers, your abstracts, and then they will be in contact with you on what you need to adjust or how you're going to proceed. So I don't know whether any of my panelists, Nancy, do you have any parting shots? Do you have anything you want to respond to before we close?
So yes, I do. With regard to the membership, so for one to become a member of AfrEA, you have to make a membership fee. You have to pay a membership fee. So we have this in 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years. So you decide. If you're an individual, for 1 year, it's $50. So you pay that, we give you a receipt and a certificate, and automatically become a member. And you can also stand a chance to get discount on your conference registration. So I'm entreating all of you who are not members to become members of AfrEA. For 2 years, you pay $80, and for 3 years, it's $120, which has been discounted significantly. For AfrEA National Associations, that's the VOPEs, for 1 year, you pay $200. For 2 years, you pay $300. And for 3 years, you pay $500. And for other institutions, for a year is $500, 2 years is $800, and 3 years you pay $1,200 to become a member of AfrEA. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Nancy. I think, colleagues, thank you for being wonderful participants in this webinar. We are encouraging you to prepare your abstract, those who have not prepared one, and submit it using the portal which John took us through, and follow the instructions which Jamal, Essidek, and Vincent walked us through. So as we conclude today's webinar, I would like to sincerely thank our distinguished panelists for sharing their knowledge and practical guidance. I also thank all participants for your active engagement and thoughtful questions. We encourage everyone to carefully study the conference concept note. Identify the conference track that best aligns with your work. Follow the abstract submission guidelines carefully, as John indicated, and submit your abstract before the deadline, which is 30th July 2026. Remember, a successful abstract is not simply well written. It clearly demonstrates relevancy to the conference theme, presents a strong idea or evidence, and communicates its value to Africa's evaluation community. We look forward to receiving your submissions and welcoming you to the 12th AfrEA Conference, where together we will continue advancing evaluation excellence, learning, and evidence-informed decision-making across Africa. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all and wish you every success with your abstract submission within the time frame we still have. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Vice President, I have something to add on.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I would want to also entreat all of us to please follow the AfrEA social media channels. We have LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Weekly, we update these social platforms with updates about the conference, including the various strands, call for registration, venue announcements, and speaker announcements. These are all planned for the coming week. So please follow our various social platforms so that you'll be well abreast with informations when we post them. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is closed and hope to hear from you through the submission portal and other platforms Nancy has just mentioned. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Bye.